Hello friend, thank you so much for clicking this video. I'm Sunday, and in this I will be showing you how I and the student was able to make this awesome project in the class. In the class is when we make this. So you like to see how we make it, then come with me to see the step-by-step making of it right now. So coming up this I'm going to be starting with the pattern. Here is the pattern. I'm going to be using a suede leather to make this project. For those that need how to get this pattern, I have a video on how to generate your pattern out on my platform, so you can check into my platform and you go through that and see how you can generate your pattern out. So after my pattern is out, I use my pattern to mark my leather. I've used the pattern to mark my leather out right now. The next phase is then to start cutting it out to one after the other. Cutting it out, you have to be very careful when you cut it. Cutting it out was so easy. I cut a good number of that, and some other people, students in the workshop, also assisted in cutting that. That is why it was so fast generating everything out. So a sharp scissors, a crafter knife will do justice to this very well. So after everything was cut together, then the next thing is that I go forward to select the material which I will be using for the inner layer. Okay, this is another leather. It's at an average of 1 mm in thickness. So this is what I use to mark the inner layer out. For another thing I would like to say here is that if you need to get the issue with the patterns of the inner layer, I have a video on my platform. Please go in there, check it, and you'll be able to get your inner layer out. So all the inner layer is out, and the upper layer, the out. It's time to start assembling it together one after the other. As a good pattern, we give detail to all sections you need to arrange together. So that is where I'm now applying my gum. If you draw your pattern very well, all sections you need to align to join together, it should have been indicated on the pattern. So after I've indicated that, I apply gum and I start putting it one after the other. Remember, your project need to lap very well. Follow the marking, follow the portion at which you need to join together the marking, follow it very well, and you'll be getting a balanced project. After you balance the next design, go forward to then start stitching it off. Okay, in this project I use a flatbed sewing machine. The reason I used to use a flatbed sewing machine is that in the workshop, when student comes to the workshop to learn, the flatbed machine is the most easy to access in terms of pricing, in terms of availability. That's what they used to have. So that is most of the time, that's what I used to take the class with them. Yes, in the workshop, they have a post bed, they have a cylinder arm, I have a sidewall machine, but I always decide to use this flatbed for a good number of projects, so they will know how they can easily manipulate this machine to do lots of projects within them, even when they are not able to get the other set of machine immediately they finish the class, so they can just easily just start something up. Okay, so coming up in here, this what I'm showing now is the tongue of the project. The sewing of the tongue of the project, looking at the design we're working on, is a straight stripe was first stitched on it. Here the straight stripe is one that is holding the magic staple also. That was first stitched on it, and then you can start to put this, and it's kind of to put this. When it comes to craft like this, your flexibility, plays a big role in it. You can start to change some things in it. And this, apparently, even when myself was working on this in the workshop as a student, for the student, I decided to change some designs out of it. So even if you yourself needs to work on it, you can start to change some other things from it. But the major thing in here is that it was stitched, the both back turned around, a puffy material was laid in the center, trimmed round, and then decided to turn it out. So turning this out now, I will be achieving a neat project. You can see I stitched the both surface glued together, face each other, and then stitch it around. A stitching allowance in there has already been added on the pattern, so it's not an imaginary line, it's a stitching line has been already giving the allowance on the pattern. Okay, so after it's been turned around, then the edge can be closed up straight. Closing it up, then our tongue is good to go. Then we are at this point joining it. We'll then trim it off. Our tongue is good to go. So it's not as good to go as you align it on the project and you see that yes, it balanced very, very well. So what I'm going to do in there is then align it on the project to see if it balanced so well. You can see all edges close. Okay, let's put it out. Okay, you can see setting up very, very fast. So the next phase is then to go and stand join the back, this back and the front together. Earlier what I just did is to fix the front. Now is to then fix the back on it. So the back is what I'm fixing right now. So fixing this back, the next thing I'll do is after I fix the back, I then fix the inner too. This is time to now insert the inner to it. So before I get to insert my inner, the magic holder is very, very important to insert it, because the reason I have to insert it right in here is that if it's not being inserted right now, stitching it after I insert my inner layer might not be easy. So but before I do it, I have to put it on the last picture is balance. After I achieve the balance, then I then stitch it. I strongly recommend you use a glue to temporarily hold it while you try to balance it on the mold to know if it's in the right position. So after you've used glue to hold it, then it will be so easy for you to stitch. After you stitch it, then the next phase is then come to start joining the inner layer and the upper layer to start joining it together. What I need to let you know in here is that when you need to join your inner layer and the upper layer together, your choice of inner layer you have to be very careful when you select this, precise in the sense that it has to be flexible, and because it's going to be stitched and see the stitching I'm doing to the edges of the leather right now. I'm stitching it, joining the back together, stitching and then to turn it inward. So if your inner layer is so thick or is so dry that it cannot be folded in easily, then it can affect the outcome of your project. So I always recommend a very, very flexible inner layer. So this flexible inner layer will help you achieve a good turn up. So because it's going to be a turn up, so it's going to turn it up out in there. So the excess can be trimmed off and then just come into and turn it up. But before we turn this up, at the front of this project, where the tongue is going to be lying, it needs to be properly set. That is where it needed to be set very, very well. You can see the front, see the way it was back stitched all around together. So now this is the back of the project, and then apply gum. Go to the other side too, apply gum on the lining. The reason I'm doing this is that I want that to be the arresting point. This is the point that's going to arrest this project together. You can see it as I have turned it out and then glue it. So the next is then go over and then stitch around. The stitching hand is permanently holding it all around. So get one thing in this project, all my stitchings are in 2-2. For the stitching to be in 2-2, then you have to be very careful. I'm not using a double needle machine. For the fact that I'm using a double needle machine, I can also achieve my double stitching. So for me to achieve my double stitching, I have to do it gently. That does not mean that you yourself have to do yours in a double stitching, but you can also do your own in a single stitching. But the project itself comes out in double stitching, and I like the way it's looking on a double stitching. So at the time I've done this, the next thing I need to do to then attach the tongue to it. The tongue will just be stitched at the tip. It's just going to be stitched at the tip, and then I'm being very careful because I've done the stitch around the axis, so I need to maintain my gathers spacing and then stitch within the stitching hole. So with this, it's going to come out excellently, and then the stitching line will not really show so much. At the time I've done this and I'm done with the upper, I need to trim all the threads. The other team in the workshop also helped me to trim the thread. After we get to trim the thread, the next phase is just to then go up, assess it around to know that the upper is ready and good to go. Put it on the last seat that is balanced. Then the next is to then go forward and start forming this to shape and size. You can see our upper is set. Let's go now to start lasting it up. Okay, this is the point at which your roughing material, the material you cut all around together, you come together to form into shape. The green material you see in there is a lasting, which is used to form to shape. So first is, because it comes in 2 layers, first node to first form the inner layer, which are formed out. Sorry, I had to skip it up because there was a lot of question in the workshop that make the filming in that aspect not to be so balanced out, so it was skipped off. So after we first form it off, the next phase is then to now come to now put an enforcing material that's going to use enforce the material in the enforcing it, a front stiffener, a back stiffener being inserted. The front stiffener is necessary now. So after we insert our front stiffener to enforce the front, to make it strong, solid, and to always make it to retain the shape to the level, to the time, all through the lifetime of the shoe, we've inserted and then gradually drop this down. This is necessary when you are doing your shoe by hand. If you are lasting your shoe by hand, you do all this process. But if you're lasting with a lasting machine, you will get to there's a different way at which you have to insert and embed your front enforcer. So after we've done this, mount a serious hammer on it for it to be balanced. You then use my lasting plier to clip it tips by tips, edge it up, and to the point that all the back and the front is balanced, very, very balanced, fully balanced. And then the next thing is then sample it on the sole to see if it works. So that for me works very, very well. So once it works very well, do the second one. So this is another opportunity for you to see it again, how I work on it again. So after I get this, the next is then add it up to my sole. You can see is well balanced. You can see the way it's balanced. Yes, balanced. The next thing is then after it's balanced in there. So it's time now to then gum it together after applying the gum all around it. Okay, make sure that your gum does not exceed the point that the sole is going to cover. So after I do that, then just apply it and make sure it covers it all around. So at this point you're done with it, and it's optional, but I strongly recommend for you to stitch it all around. So after you stitch it around, then you are good to go. Thank you so much for joining me to see this from A to the beginning to the end. It's an honor for me to have instructed you with this. So I'd like you to like this, share it, subscribe, and while you subscribe, hit on the notification bell for you to be notified when I have some video like this again on my platform. Hit on the notification bell for you to have that notification. I look forward to have you in my subsequent upload. Please check my website out, it's in the description of the video. Bye bye.